Scott was born and raised out west in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and he always thought that's what made him so solid. We met on a blind date, and I remember it was a few weeks into our dating, he was driving me home, and this car got a flat tire on the 401. He pulls over and just says to me, "Oh, don't worry, we'll be out of here in a minute, we'll get you home." He gets out, changes it. We were gone in no time. Here he is, he's like a young lawyer or a banker in Toronto. There he was on the side of the road. So I knew then that, wow, that's the guy I'm gonna marry. Like, he's pretty special. And he was really special. Like, he was amazing, yeah. Scott was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when he was 44 years old. We had a 2-year-old at home. We had a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old at home. And he was at the top of his career. We had just gotten home from a romantic weekend away in Chicago, and then a couple weeks later, he was diagnosed. It was so fast. At the end, I decided, he's got to go to hospice care because I couldn't look after him any longer. We arrived, and you're immediately greeted by the volunteers and the staff, and you're offered coffee or tea and something to eat, which is amazing because after 2 years of the focus is never on the caregiver, not that it needs to be, but it was magical to just be like, oh, I get to just be his wife. The first night we arrived, it was the last night he was very coherent. He immediately seemed at peace. The nurses and the PSWs thought that let's get him in a wheelchair and show him around the home. There's an electric or gas fireplace in the front yellow room. And I remember the nurse turned it on for us and we just talked and enjoyed the time together. And that was such a gift. You get lost in your thoughts when someone you love is at the end of their life, and just to be able to stare at the window, and I was looking at hummingbird feeders and bird feeders, and then the last day I knew this is the day. He's going to pass. I needed the children to be in a really nice, warm, cozy environment. I didn't want them to see their father hooked up to machines. When the children embraced him for their last time and they were able to hug him, it didn't seem as scary. They gave us as much time with Scott as we needed after he had died. Time stood still. When we left, it was really hard because I'm not going to see him again. But we left with a really loving feeling. The staff were lined up in the hall, and the looks in their eyes, you just knew they wished us well. There's a memory wall, so we can come back and visit. In fact, Scott's getting his plaque this fall. What the hospice did for my children and their memories of their father and their father's death, there's no replacing that. They got to say goodbye to their father, which is the most difficult thing in the world, if you can imagine them having to say, goodbye, Daddy, I love you. My children will carry that with them the rest of their lives.